Thanks to the support as a channel member, DC Maximo. Well, January shopping is going swimmingly so far. We've signed a striker, we've signed a midfielder, we're trying to sign a defender, although we can't quite afford him, and Champions League and La Liga are all looking good as well. Everything's starting to turn out swimmingly. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two matches for you. One against Nantes in the Champions League, and then we're also away against big rivals Real Madrid. Top of the table Real Madrid in La Liga. Beating them here is the only way we can possibly insert ourselves into a title race for this season. Since you were last with me, we had a little bit of a wobble. I mean, I say a little wobble, a big wobble in early January. It was mainly caused by injuries. We lost a couple of players to injury, but we did get knocked out of the Super Copa in the semi-final by Real Madrid, then lost in the league to Sevilla before getting knocked out of the Copa del Rey in the third round by this team that I don't know how to say and have never heard of, which is far from ideal. You may notice a new unfamiliar name on the goal scorers throughout January, though. He's our new striker that we found. You can see Taman got a couple of goals there as well. But this is new signing number one. Adama Sukuna is a 23-year-old Spanish former under-21 striker. I say former under-21. He played one game once. But he's a four-star current ability striker at 23 years old. Considered star rating-wise better than Julio Aspas. He'd scored 12 goals in 16 matches for Napoli in Serie A so far this season. It's a real breakout year for him, having been, a decent striker in the lower leagues in Spain as a teenager, but it took him a while to get established with Napoli, got into their team this year, and we've pounced for 35 million, an absolute bargain, and he's come in and grabbed 6 goals in his first 3 league appearances. Man of the match in all 3 of those matches and averaging an 8.77 so far. He is exactly what I always want in a striker, in that he is big and fast. Big, fast, strong, good finisher. He's a 30-goal-a-season striker. He's got that written all over him. He's not registered in our Champions League squad, though, yet. So you won't see him in the first match, but he will be ready for Real Madrid. The other player that we've signed is this guy, Andreas Marcu. He's the midfielder that I mentioned we brought in. He's a 19-year-old English wonder kid, regular for the England under-21s already. He's a natural at centre midfield and defensive midfield, a natural ball-winning midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. He's exactly the kind of midfielder I was looking for, much more high-energy, tough tackling, completely different profile to any of the other midfield players that we've got at the moment. I don't know whether he's going to end up long-term in the centre of midfield as a box-to-box midfielder or playing a little bit deeper as a tough tackler. It doesn't really matter at this point. He's 19. Leicester have sold him for an absolute bargain at 25 million, having bought him for 14 million plus a part exchange off of Sunderland a few years ago. I don't know who the part exchange player was, though. It doesn't seem like Leicester have made much profit on a player that has now joined Barcelona at 19 years old and had already played 130 plus championship games before his 20th birthday. Seems like another steal, so very happy to get him in. And then the third player I mentioned I'm trying to get but really struggling with, Thilo Brandenberger, is a German centre-back at 22. He's already got 21 caps for Germany. He's 6'5". He is my dream centre-back. But we can only get him by paying his release clause. It's a £69 million release clause. We have been trying to negotiate back and forth all January. You can see that we've already managed to upset him. He wants to leave. He's on the transfer list at his own request, or was. Looks like he's come off the transfer list again now. But he wants to join us. We've had terms agreed with him, but then the deal fell through because we couldn't afford to buy him. We still can't really afford to buy him now. We've got a £49 million budget, but we do have £300,000 spare in the wage budget, even if he joins, but they won't let me adjust it because we've already offered him a contract. So I don't know even now if we can get him. We do have an idea in the back pocket with Alejandro Balde, who Manchester City are chasing. Of course, Manchester City managed by my predecessor here at Barcelona, Graham Potter. So we could potentially sell Balde, bring Brandenberger in, and just go the rest of the season without a really good left back. We've got Pereira, who we signed in the summer, and then focus on signing a proper left back in the summer. I really don't want to miss out on Brandenberger. And if I have to sacrifice Balde to get him, I'm not completely against doing that. I'm just seeing if I have gone through these once already. I think these are all ones that we have to pay out, so we don't want to do any of these. But there you go. We can receive a little bit of money here. So we'll have $250,000 there. Every little helps when we're trying to scrape together a fee to bring in a player. No, these are all ones we'd have to pay out. We're not interested in paying out money to anybody. But there you go, a little bit more in the kitty. I really hope that £300,000 a week spare translates to £20 extra on the transfer budget. £20, £20 million extra. I suspect it probably doesn't. So, league tables in the situation they're in at the moment. This is what La Liga looks like. We did beat Real Madrid 4-0 in our last game. We were 3-0 up inside the first 7 minutes of that match. It was a spectacular performance, and that has kind of established us in this top four. We should be comfortable qualifying for the Champions League, especially with Sakuna in now, scoring loads of goals. But we are 10 points behind Real Madrid. More than half the season is gone. We play them in this episode. The only way we've got any chance of being in a tight race is if we beat them, and they've already beaten us this month, which was a little bit unfortunate. I've just noticed Mukoko is at Osasuna. Bayern Munich now, as you can imagine, going to just take him away. That is baffling. Having played a lot of Football Manager over the years, this guy always becomes one of the absolute top strikers in the game. I mean, we can't buy him now. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on at Bayern Munich, where presumably he's going, but he would have been even cheaper. He didn't show up on my scout reports because I'm focusing on under 23s, but he would have been even cheaper than either of the guys we've bought, and probably would have been an absolute superstar for us. Again, exactly what you'd look for in a striker, meets all those criteria we were just talking about before. So he's going to go and score loads of goals in Germany now, and hopefully we can get the guy that we want to get. But first up, it is the Champions League. We are pretty much, I don't know why we're not showing us qualified already, because I think we are. We're certainly qualified for the next round. We've got 16 points and 25th place have 8 with 1 game to go. So we're definitely into the next round. I guess we're not yet qualified for the top 8, which is obviously where we want to be. So a win here will confirm our spot in the last 8, which, if you're not familiar with the new style Champions League, finishing the top 8 means you effectively skip a round, because everyone from 9th down to 24th plays an additional knockout round before we re-enter the competition to get it down to a last 16. So let's go beat Nantes. This is the team that we are going to be sending there to try and get that job done. Of course, no Sakuna today, because he is, or Marco, neither of the new ones are yet registered for this Champions League squad. We'll be able to register them for the knockout rounds. So for now, it's Aspas up front, but it's Simon in goal, a back four of Balde, Santos, Araujo and Koundé. I have genuinely considered signing Santos permanently, spending the 40 million on him, because I'm using him a lot. I won't use him if I bring Brandenburger in, though. De Jong at the base of the midfield, La Cruz and Pedri ahead of him, Torres on the left, Fati on the right, Aspas up front. We are currently experiencing an injury to Lazarov, who is... he's been missing the last couple of weeks. He's out for another 3 weeks or so. And Gavi has been injured for most of January as well. So a couple of key players missing. And certainly the injury to Lazarov has really emphasised just how important it is for us to bring in another defender, because we are definitely light at centre-back. We've had a couple of games where we've played Agostini at centre-back or Koundé at centre-back with Agostini at right-back. Obviously not using Agostini at all today because we've got Santos in there. I like Santos. If we don't get Brandenburger, I might just spend 40 million on Santos, but it seems silly to spend 40 million on him when for 70 million we can get the best defender that we could possibly get. He's like the perfect defender. I'd rather have Brandenburger than de Klerk. That's how much I like this Brandenburger guy. So we just need to do whatever we have to do to get him in the door. Like I say, even if that means sacrificing Balde, and I mean, we'd probably have a little bit of money left over to potentially go and bring in a left back now anyway, if we had to. I'm hoping we see a bit of a response from Aspas today, who of course has lost his place in the starting 11 in the league because Sakuna came in. I didn't just immediately throw him in the team. As he came in, Aspas got the flu, so he had to make his debut within 2 days of signing for the club and scored a hat-trick. So that established him immediately in the team, and he's not given up his spot yet, and he's continued picking up a man of the match every time he's played. So Aspas not played a lot of football lately, other than the previous Champions League match against PSV Eindhoven, which we won. But I'd like to see a response from him today and put up a little bit of competition for Sakuna. I don't think Aspas should necessarily just accept being our backup striker now. He is our top scorer still so far this season, although probably not for much longer. But he was starting to look pretty good. He had a slow start, but was starting to look pretty useful towards the, well, in the last episode, even towards the end of that first half of the season. He was only I mean, we needed a backup. That's what I was really bringing Sakuna in to be, just a guy to compete with him, be a backup to him. I didn't plan to bring him in over the top of Aspas immediately. It's just circumstances have meant that that's what's happened. But Aspas not really showing anything today. We're a different team with Sakuna in the side. Right, Torres plays it across to Pedro. I think's been fouled, and Aspas has scored. I don't know how much about it he knows. That's a weird way to phrase that sentence. I don't know how much he knows about it. There you go. Talk like a human. Revealing myself as a robot there. But Torres has the ball out on this side, gives it to Pedro, who is clattered. And then the clearance, actually, it's not just hit Aspas. I say I don't know how much he knows about it. He knew exactly what was going on there. It was cleared towards him, but he very much heads that ball into the back of the net, put us 1-0 up. And as mentioned, a win here does guarantee our spot in the knockout, in the last eight, not the last eight, the last 16. We finish in the top 8 and skip through. It's such a complicated, stupid, complicated tournament now. Why does it have to be so complicated? Right, we're making a whole bunch of changes here. Agostini's going to come on there. We're going to play him in that role and just change up the midfield completely. I think this is the first time you've seen Agostini at DM. I'm going back into my memory banks. I feel like I've promised to show you that at some point and still haven't. We do use him there as much, at least as much as we use him at fullback now. But yeah, you're going to get to have a little look at him today, although it was only for a few minutes because we now need to push him back to right back because of circumstances. So Bullet can, actually, we could put Bullet there and do this, and you can carry on seeing Agostini doing what he does at the base of the midfield. We may as well do that. And then we're going to bring on Zaballos for Torres as the final change. Still 1-0 up, going into the final 10 minutes. It's not been as straightforward as I thought it would be against a team who are well down the table, 19th place. But fingers crossed, we look pretty secure. It'd be nice to grab another goal here. There is Temel. What a goal from Tahir Temel. It's his first ever goal from Barcelona, the young wonder kid, and it's an absolute beauty. It puts us 2-0 up on 88 minutes, and this was perfect. Agostini getting involved there, plays it across to Temel, who just takes one touch, looks up, and curls it beautifully into that top far corner. Lovely goal. We're going to finish 3rd in the group, the highest placed Spanish team, which is lovely stuff. And hopefully that'll give us a nice little confidence boost going into this game with Real Madrid. And maybe the little bit of extra money will convince the board to let me sign the defender that I want, the missing piece of the puzzle, because we're doing all of this with a West Ham reserve playing centre-back for us. Imagine how it could be if I had the defender I really wanted. Let's see if we get him. Then we'll play Real Madrid. Well, after much deadline day desperation, we have, unfortunately, not been able to secure the signing of Thilo Brandenberger. We will very much be trying again in the summer, and hopefully we'll be able to bring him in then and hope Spurs don't get there before us. That'd be very upsetting. We did offer a few players out. I offered Koundé out. The only offer we got for him was £7 million from Paris Saint-Germain, which wouldn't have been enough to make up the money we needed. So we'd have lost Koundé and not got Brandenberger. So as much as I would have definitely sacrificed him and that enormous salary in order to bring the new boy in, that wasn't to be. Manchester City never came back in with another offer and actually didn't want Balde anymore by the time deadline day came around. So that one didn't help. We also offered Ferran Torres out, hoping that we would potentially get somewhere near that kind of value for him. And the offer we got was £18 million from Chelsea, which just, although it probably would have been enough to get Brandenberger, it massively weakens our attack. He's got 11 goal contributions this season. And he's only 30. It wasn't enough to let him go that cheap. So we end the transfer window with £52 million of transfer budget remaining, and we will try again for Brandenberger. We'll pretty much be relentlessly doing that between now and the summer and just try and find a way to get him through the door. Ultimately, he wants to join us. Can I declare interest again? Let's declare interest again. we've got to put some pressure on and try and find a way to get Hertha to accept less than his release clause for him. With Barcelona, we should be able to bully clubs into selling us out at their players, which certainly doesn't seem to be the case, which is very upsetting. All of which brings us to the Real Madrid game, which means you get to see some of our new boys in action. Marcu comes in midfield, playing in that box-to-box role. Sukuna is going to be playing up front for us as well, and Agostini is going to play centre-back because it's Real Madrid. We need our best players on the pitch. I'm not sure which way round Koundé or Agostini should be going here, but I think we go this way. Koundé always seems to play better at right back. Agostini never played well at right back. This should work. And if it doesn't, we can just swap De Jong and Agostini around and play De Jong at centre back as a ball playing defender and have Agostini sat in front of him just protecting everything. Of course, as well, just as my deal for my defender falls through, Fortunato Diaz has decided he wants to leave the club, requested a transfer because he's not getting enough game time. We had a £15 million offer for him like 3 hours too late. That would have solved the problem, but hopefully we can get that deal confirmed, get him out the door and have Brandenburger agreeing to join in the summer before the end of February. At least we have that deal then done. One other thing as well to mention before we get into the Real Madrid game, my 24-hour stream this weekend continues today. Continues 12 p.m. today. Yeah, I get it. It's 24 hours over a weekend, not 24 hours in one go. Read the small print. But I did 14 hours yesterday, assuming all went well. I am pre-scheduling this video. We did 14 hours yesterday. We've got 10 hours left. So we're going to be live from 12 p.m. today, UK time. That's 12 o'clock lunchtime. Those of you who don't understand how time and clocks work. So 12 p.m. All the way through to 10 p.m. tonight, all UK times, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. I'm sure we're already having lots of fun. Come along and join in with even more fun. Will it be as fun as Pedri very nearly scoring inside 2 minutes against Real Madrid? Who knows? But goodness me, was he close there. Being able to release Pedri to go a little bit further forward is always good fun. That's what the signing of Marcu is going to allow us to do. Pedri with the corner, but it's headed clear by, I think, Camavinga for Real Madrid. But Pedri has the ball again as he bursts into the area, and he has now scored the opening goal. He's looked like a threat from the moment this match kicked off. He's already had one chance that trickled across the goal line. He's had that tempting little corner, and now he's scored from the follow-up from said corner. Real Madrid never really getting it clear. Araujo on the edge of the area gets it right back into the danger area, and Pedri, having taken the corner, enters the 6-yard box and drills it past the Real Madrid goalkeeper. It's Real Madrid 0, Barcelona 1 after just 5 minutes. And remember, this match has huge implications when it comes to a potential title race that I've not really acknowledged we have any chance of getting into yet, even with a win here. And it's still early days, we might not win. But even if we were to win here, that is a wild shot. We'd still be 7 points behind Real Madrid with less than half a season remaining. That is a big gap to make up. But we'd have momentum, and you never know. And the important thing is we're looking like we should be good for getting back into the Champions League again next season. We're still in the Champions League this season, and we are still, I mean, I would say we're still 3 or 4 players away from this squad being where I want it to be, similar to what you saw us do at Spurs last season. It takes more than 1 or 2 transfer windows to get the squad exactly where we want it to be, especially when we've got slightly limited money available to us here, as you saw with that January being, oh, that's really poor from Agostini, and we've just gifted them the equaliser. So the message there is he's probably not a centre-back. We need to move De Jong on. We've actually got De Jong, we signed him a contract extension because he was on £425,000 a week. He signed a 1-year extension but brought his salary down to $275,000. So having done the rough Kev maths, we basically got him an extra year for half price. It didn't really cost us any more to extend him for a year than it would have had to just keep him for the remaining year that he had. And now more defensive hesitation, and Real Madrid have been absolutely ruthless there. 2 goals in very quick succession, both very similar, both mistakes from our centre-back. This is one of those situations where, as the manager, I can very much clip those 2 goals out and just turn around and wave my iPad with the clips on up at the director's box and say, look, We've been talking about this all month. I told you I needed a defender. I told you which one I needed. And we were just a little... I'm throwing my bottle around now. Normally, you save that for half time. I'm doing it in real life. We were this close to having the money available to bring in the defender that I wanted. We didn't manage to do it. And this is what's happening. We're 3-1 down against a Real Madrid team that we looked like we were capable of beating very briefly. I mean, there's nothing a new defender would have done about that third goal going in. But those first two were absolute centre-back howlers. And if we'd have signed Brandenburger, at least one of those centre-backs wouldn't have been on the pitch to make the howler. And realistically, they probably both would have been, and Marcu would have been the one who dropped out because De Jong would have played further forward. Agostini would have played there. Brandenburger would have been there. It would have been lovely. I had it already in my mind. But as it is, we're playing a 19-year-old Englishman on his debut and a right-back / central midfielder playing at centre-back because we haven't got any other centre-backs because the only other one we've got is injured. Well, you've brought this on yourself, board. I take no responsibility for what's happening here. I am merely the manager. If you don't back me, what am I supposed to do? Rumblings of discontent from the Barcelona manager. There you go. That should be your headline because I'm definitely rumbling at the moment. Agostini plays it across to Balde. And now Pedri, who looked very good early on and has then been very quiet since. It's almost as if he figures he's done his job for today. He's looked dangerous. He's grabbed a goal. He doesn't really need to contribute anymore, which I do hope that's not the attitude that he has. That would be very upsetting. De Jong is the deepest player we've got on the pitch there, basically playing as a sweeper right now. Marcu showing why we wanted him in the team. He got to tackle him, but then did immediately give the ball away again. And Real Madrid look like they taste blood in the water at the moment. We're actually still very marginally ahead on XG, which really does show how much this is completely self-inflicted. We should at least be level in the game. They had one goal that we couldn't really do anything about and two that we've gifted them. And that is a weird decision from Vinicius Jr. there. I'm not really sure who or what he's aiming for, but thankfully didn't go anywhere near our goal. The other thing, of course, the defeat here does is opens the risk of dropping out of the back of the top four back into play. We're only 2 points ahead of Real Valladolid, the team I've never been able to say, and that's not a situation we want to be in. Gavi is still not back from injury, as you can see down the bottom there. Right. Sakuna's not been very good today. After all that talk about how great he's been, he's just won La Liga Player of the Month. This is the first match he's played for us where he's not been man of the match, and he has been completely anonymous. So Aspas can come on, and we can see if we can get a performance out of him. De Jong is now tiring, so Temel can come on for him. That's a fairly typical substitution, and I think we're going to put Koundé over to centre back and bring on Bullet, which we probably should have done earlier on. We probably could have even started like that. I'm still punishing Bullet for the fact that I wanted rid of him at Spurs, so he's never really had a chance here, but maybe it's time he played a bit of football at right back and we went with Araujo and Koundé while Lazarov's injured. That wasn't ideal. We're not going to win the league this year, but that's fine. What we're hopefully going to do is sign a centre-back before we meet again. And when we meet again for the Champions League round of 16, I don't know who we're playing yet because they've still got to play the previous round, but we'll be back for the round of 16 and we'll see what happens from there. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.